to the Whitest House. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. Except the blood of the poor and the way they mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the Whitest House, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can even buy it out.
That's the essence of your entire political identity. You might be a white supremacist.
Did the disclaimer play? I feel like we're gonna need the disclaimer. I feel like we might need the disclaimer in full effect today.
We might.
Anyway, yes, we are back in our full form. You know what I'm saying? Like this week in white supremacy is back. You know, Trevor had a little mini hiatus. You know what I'm saying? He's back with us. Never love supremacy. So, but first of all, welcome this week in white supremacy. I'm Jasiri X. I'm the co-founder CEO of One Hood. Mr. LNS, welcome back, brother.
Hey, it's good to be back. Voltron has fully formed. You know what I'm saying? We out here, Trouble NLS, never like supremacy. You already know how we rocking.
Yes. And somebody has kidnapped the Wonder Twins and put them aside. Can you all introduce yourself?
This just means I'm just gonna go shopping and put it on the One Hood budget and be like, I need
bookshelf,
ambiance.
Yes. Ambiance. I like that. But I mean, it was raining today. It was a bad day. Everybody's inside, so you're looking fresh, Miracle. Did you want to tell them who you are?
I try. I'm gonna try to behave today. It's your girl. It's Miracle. We're just the level-headed Wonder Twin, the dark chocolate to the caramel, the country to the culture, the seasoned to the sophisticated.
Mm-hmm.
I have glasses to the shades. I forgot what the whip to the wop.
Yes.
It's just Miracle. It's me.
Yep. All right. Yes, I like you said, the level-headed one. I agree with that.
Revolutionary but dark skin.
Woo! Mr. Shade, you good, brother?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say something clever, but I'm gonna wait because I'm trying to keep my jokes for our guest of honor tonight. Yeah, guest of honor tonight, man. Revolutionary but gorgeous one, the waffle colored Wonder Twin.
Yes. And we, just like you said, I mean, we had a lot of news break today. And we're gonna get into. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bill, Donald, other Donald. It's a lot of white supremacy happened this week, extra white supremacy. They had to make it extra for you.
White supremacy, is that white supremacy?
What'd you say?
I said white supremacy dies. Is that still white supremacy?
I don't know. Did you? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
You're gonna be a white supremacist?
And death, probably. I think you can still be a white supremacist. You're breaking up a little bit. So I don't know what's.
Oh man, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they got you in the basement, bro. I don't know what's going on over there. But we wanted to start. Although it was kind of older news, we did want to start because Derek Chauvin was convicted. He was sentenced on Friday. This past Friday, he was sentenced. He got 22 years. From what I understand, or 22 and a half, I guess we're going to give it all to him, but that because it's a state time that he would be eligible for parole in 15 years. Just wanted folks' general reaction to, I guess the maximum term was 40 years. The prosecutors wanted 40 years. His defense wanted probation. What did y'all think about, Chauvin getting, that many years?
I'm glad he got something. You know what I'm saying? Because I was half hoping that he was just going to walk or get some, petty little slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying?
You were hoping that, why?
Wait, what?
You said you were half hoping or you were half thinking?
No, I was half thinking that he might not.
Okay,
Sorry,
you said
my
hoping.
Words. I can't speak English today. I was not hoping that he would get a slap on the wrist.
You were trying to catch him lacking when he came out the door.
Hey, maybe. I haven't been violent in years. I got a lot of angst in me.
He's gonna catch him lacking when he came out, and in 6 months he was going. But I mean, I think, I don't know. I mean, there's always a possibility because he is a police, and we've seen how these situations have been dealt with. We've seen so many killers and murderers of Black people, innocent Black people, let off. A Miracle, what did you think? From a legal standpoint, because this was Keith Ellison. This is a Black attorney general for the state of Minnesota. Is this a win for us that he got 22 years for the murder of a Black person, a police officer?
For those that believe in the judicial system, it was a win. For those that believe in incarceration and punitive damages, it was a win for those folks. The reality is the situation, the system that allowed Chauvin to operate and to put his knee on George's neck is still in existence and it's still operating and it's still engaging and it's still living and thriving, which we're going to talk about, in a few. And so I get people finding and feeling joy and solace knowing that there's finally been a conviction. But like I said before, had Chauvin shot George, he wouldn't have gone to jail. Had he tased him, ran him over a vehicle, any other means of besides strangulation for 9 minutes, he would still be on the force right now. And so why people are happy that this man's facing jail time, no, it really wasn't a win. And for me, to see the lack of care him and his whole family had was like the ultimate the ultimate example of white supremacy. Like his mom didn't even express remorse. When he got there to talk, he really didn't express remorse and was like, something's album about to drop next week and I'm gonna let y'all know.
Yeah.
It was just like a person is dead, regardless of whether you believe it was right or wrong. A person is dead, a life is ended, and there was just like no awareness from him, his mother, his defense attorney team. It was just very weird to watch and see. And so the idea that you can, why you're supposed to be asking for grace and mercy, just really eradicate a Black person's life and pretend they're non-existent was really hard to like watch. And I really do not understand the thought process of this defense attorney team during sentencing to show absolutely no remorse on the behalf of their client. To say, and when he almost said Chauvin's life matters, I was like, we about to have to go down there. He was this close. He just couldn't bring himself to say it. So, but I do think that for a lot of people to believe in the system and needed a win, this was that for them.
Well, so I do want to come to you because first, I mean, his mom was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to give him my special hug. Like George Floyd is gone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to have that level of like disconnect, but we've seen that with white people when it comes to like Black death and Black bodies, like no regard to not even show like the family, like some type of solace, to me was just absolutely wild. And because like you're already found guilty, like, you don't have to try to put no act on, bro. You're already found guilty. Maybe if you show some remorse, you would get some type of leniency. But I guess I'm not the person that believes in the system, but I am the person that wanted to see Chauvin like underneath the jail for like a very, very long time. I don't know if you feel the same way, Ray Farouk. Like how did you feel, what I'm saying, with a 22 and a half year sentence?
I can only speak from my personal experiences with run-ins with the law. I had attempted murder and I was looking at 30 years. And I had
you were unjustly charged with that.
Correct. And I was going to take a plea for 19.
I just want to be specific. Yeah, I just want to keep it real. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to take a plea for 19 until the police tampered with my evidence. So, and this was attempted, allegedly. The fact that he could get off with 22 and a half for actually murdering somebody, and not just murdering, torturing somebody. And I'm with you. It's like, en masse incarceration and all that. But, as far as white supremacy goes, man, make them fall victim to the system that they created. You know what I mean? Like, that's just where I stand with it. Now, I'm a little more fire and brimstone, but I'll keep that to myself just for the sanctity of the episode. But it's difficult to celebrate something like that because, like Miracle said, we lost a brother from that. You know what I mean? So it's difficult to find joy or solace in anything, like in a verdict or anything like that. Because no amount of celebration from the community is going to end the suffrage of the family. And that's what I got to say about it.
And then what's weird? Okay, go ahead, Trouble.
So y'all just made me think. It's like, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, now that I think of it, like, we can't celebrate this too much because if we do, then white supremacy will look at it as, oh, this is a win. So we don't have to do much more change. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll just keep perpetuating the system.
Absolutely, because I think Amber Geiger, who just shot and killed Botham Jean, Botham John, who's just sitting in his house, I think she got like 10 years. So just like you said, I mean, like, that's obviously not enough, but I know, we're also looking at, like, what does abolition look like? And I still, struggle wanting abolition in some cases, but kind of like the Fruit said, I want these white supremacists. If you ran into the Capitol, I want you to get a max sentence, like go chill out in jail, see what that feels like as a part of a people that's been mass incarcerated. And what's wild, about this is the fact that, like, there are white people who, like, watch the George Floyd video, or because of the outpouring of emotion that people had about the George Floyd video, the fact that, people responded to it, that for that very reason, like, hate George Floyd, which is so weird to me, because there's 2 George Floyd statues, and that's maybe a whole nother conversation about a George Floyd statue. And people are bringing up that he does have a federal case pending, and that maybe the feds will put on more time. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if we can trust the Fed. I mean, I'm looking at the federal government, who didn't give justice to any of these moms. Trayvon, Oscar Grant, Tamir Rice, you name the person killed, Breonna Taylor. Like, we haven't seen any justice at a federal level. So I don't necessarily look at the feds for possibly doing anything on a federal level. I'm just, putting that out there because folks are putting that in the chat. But, like, people have, like, I mean, these George Floyd statues are obviously new. One is in Newark, one is in Brooklyn, and they both have been vandalized. Like, I mean, they just were put up. They just were vandalized. Like, I just saw, like, I think Chairman Fred Hampton, like, they had to get, like, a bulletproof gravestone for his father. I mean, we've seen Emmett Till's, like, stuff, like, like, what is it about? Like, why would you hate on George? Like he's dead, he's gone. Like, can y'all understand what is it?
Maybe George didn't hurt anybody.
Like, what did he do?
That's the thing that's so bewildering to me, is just like the rapid fire response to hatred of blackness. Like, George didn't hurt nobody. Like, you can say whatever you want, and I can't even speak on whether he had a criminal record or not, because to be honest with you, I never paid attention to it. I paid attention to the fact that there was a black person that had a white officer and 4 other officers behind them watching as this white officer kneeled on his neck for 8 minutes and 47 seconds. That's what I was paying attention to. Criminal history be damned. He wasn't no mass murderer. He didn't run in no schools and kill no children. He didn't kill his mom. He didn't kill no police officers.
He didn't like, sell a dictator chemical weapons and then bomb the whole fucking country. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I mean? Like, he ain't bring down the towers or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, all it is like, that is just pure and simple hatred. These white people would just love to hate blackness. And the moment they see a representation of it where we're in memoriam for a black person who was murdered, they see that as an opportunity to get on the, whatever it is, whatever high they ride off of, and whatever thrill they seek from, desecrating something like that, they take the first opportunity for it.
Miracle.
I think it's cowardice, Loki.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trouble.
Just real quick. I think it's cowardice because it's like they make the target of their hatred someone who can't even defend themselves anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I dare them to do that to someone who's still standing. Someone actually sitting down on that park bench. You know what I'm saying? Like, come see me,
Trouble's
bro.
On one today. Trouble's on one. Trouble making up for his lost time.
Yo, Trouble, you were just in Jersey. Let's roll back up to Jersey, bro. I'll roll with you.
You feel me?
I got good connection. Newark. Got good connection to it.
What I was gonna say is, oh, your cousin is in the chat. What I was gonna say is this a response miracle too? You know, during the protests, folks were pulling down white statues. We're seeing, you know, some of these statues, you know, the Nathaniel Forrest statue in Tennessee is getting taken down. I guess Congress just passed some rule or law or whatever where they're removing some of these Confederate statues in Congress. Is this a response? Is this white people being mad because they feel like you're taking down my, you know, racist white supremacist history, so now I'm going to deface a George Floyd statue?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I try to be, you know, a ray of positivity. I don't think there's ever been a time where white supremacists have not destroyed images of Blackness and Black people, churches, schools, billboards, you know.
People.
You know, I was trying to be nice. No, they're always just, they being the white supremacists are always destroying things that Black and brown people build. Churches, buildings, you know, communities, towns. So this is something that always happens. This is something that's has always happened. I think people are shocked that like people are willing to do this on camera because they don't care. Like their hatred is so much that they're willing to destroy memorials on camera. I also think it's weird to make statues of dead people. A totally different thing. I think maybe there's different ways to show your love and solidarity and support.
Absolutely.
But
I agree.
No, racist white people are always going to do racist white people things.
Yeah, I thought this was a good point. Memorials to George Floyd and Emmett Till make people who are committed to white supremacy have to confront the absurdity of their beliefs. It's hard, and they're acting out. Where, you know, find you a different way to act out. Then that's a word.
They're not self-reflecting. They are not self-reflecting. They are acting out on their hatred. They are not like, oh my God. No, they want to be. There's no reason to hate another person. Like legitimately, in 2021, there is no reason to hate people because of their ethnicity, because of who they are, who they love. There's no reason for it. People know that they just want to be violent, and y'all keep trying to see humanity in people who don't have none.
What if these people like to, you know, give drugs to people? So we want to.
We're not gonna start. That's y'all's uncle.
I have a question.
I don't have to worry about all of this stuff. Like I don't.
Go ahead, Trouble.
So my question is, what if these people are so emotionally immature that when they see these memorials, the hatred they feel is a hatred towards the same system oppressing them, but they don't even have the intelligence to separate it, so they act out?
But who's oppressing them? Like, I think that was the thing about you running into the Capitol. Like, who's oppressing you? Who's hurting you? Who's stopping
white
you?
White supremacy, and they don't even see it. White supremacy doesn't only hurt Black people.
But bro, they were like literally running in the Capitol to defend the very dude that's like making it harder for them to live. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's you know, we're not gonna feel sorry for them, especially with Miracle on the show, because we're gonna get one of Miracle faces. But I'm saying, like, that's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so like that's what it is. It's like you see, I agree with Miracle. Like anytime you see a Black face, for any reason, it's like that hatred. How dare you uplift somebody Black? Like how dare you, you know, put a memorial to anybody? And it's that level. I mean, Emmett Till ain't been around for how long? You still wanted to face this man's? Like, you know, remember when in Ferguson, you know, it was just a little, okay, here's a little place. We're gonna put some flowers and some teddy bears for Mike Brown. And they was mad at that. You know what I'm saying? And
they
so,
still
like,
mad at OJ.
Yeah, they're mad at the little calm statue that Philly had, right? So it's not. I don't understand why so much of Blackness is like interrogating why white supremacy doesn't like us and what we can do to make white supremacy love us.
Yeah, we can't.
They're not going to, and we have to like accept that they are mad because they have to live and work with us and hang out with us and talk to us and be around us. That's what this whole argument about critical race theory and white genocide and all of these things. And it's literally because they just don't want to be around. Like, bro, they don't like you.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, they're not going to.
Yeah. And that's kind of, it was a thing of, I forget how Brenton Mock broke it down and what Black Pittsburgh needs to know. He was talking about like it's like a black fugitive. It was like a theory where like just your blackness, you're a fugitive. So, you know, somebody like Dan Schaefer said he has family members who said Floyd was a criminal. And it's like, so just being black means we're a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother had supposedly a counterfeit $20 bill. That's not
allegedly.
Right, like, allegedly. So I just, you know, that's that thing of like, we're black, therefore we're going to be kind of the target of this hatred for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Other than
if you
the
really
fact
want
that we're black.
If you really want to put that into perspective, all the people who make fake emails to get free trials of Netflix, that's 2 free months of free Netflix that George Floyd allegedly was murdered over. So when you put it into that perspective, if you ever defrauded Netflix for $20,
you deserve to
kneel on your neck. Let me kneel on your neck for 9 minutes, my nigga.
You're a criminal. And then it's like, you know, white criminals don't get that same. I mean, look how many people from Trump's administration got indicted for literal crimes. And literal like, but crimes. But he's the second coming of Jesus. Get the hell out of here. So we did want to talk about.
I'm tight. You know, I don't know why I feel super tight right now. Like I'm not in a good mood after talking about this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it is wild. And I mean, then of course, you know, to move on. I mean, today we heard about, you know, I guess Bill Cosby. It's wild that this is happening in Pennsylvania. But so I'm gonna come to you because you're our legal correspondent, Miracle. The Pennsylvania State Supreme Court overturned the conviction of Bill Cosby, and you know, so it was kind of, you know, the response was split down the middle. You have a lot of black people that kind of feel like, yo, you know, Felicia Rashad, who of course played Claire Huxtable on the Cosby Show, was talking about, you know, this travesty of justice has finally been corrected. So you have a lot of people saying, you know, happy for Bill Cosby. You have other people that saying, hey, he actually admitted in the deposition to giving, you know, quaaludes to young women so he could have sex with them. He admitted, you know, all of these different, you know, sexual conquests in this deposition, you know, really talking about these women like he had no care for them. Definitely not like America's dad, you know what I'm saying, that we were portrayed as. And definitely not the person who lectured black people, specifically the hip hop generation, to like pull our pants up. And, you know, me and Shaheem and Farouk and Miracle, all of our parents fell because they gave us these ethnic names that are going to hold us back for our life. I mean, this is so, it's so, how do we, you know, what should we be feeling today, Miracle, about, you know, Bill Cosby, you know, walking free from this conviction?
Okay, I tweeted out, I just want my people free from the shackles of being a rape apologist. I just want my people to understand, like, you do not have to support and defend sexual assault to move against systems of white supremacy. Bill Cosby was a rich man who was able to pay a lawyer who was able to broker a deal for him. That's what happened. And that is why he is walking free today. It's mind-blowing to me that Bill Cosby is free because the Supreme Court said that the state didn't get consent to use his deposition. To me, it's wild. And people have to understand date rape is still sexual assault. Drugging somebody is still sexual assault. Giving people drugs without their consent to loosen them up so they can be more susceptible to your advances is still sexual assault because it's coercive and it's
right. And it wasn't like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And that's not consent. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it wasn't like Bill Cosby was saying, let's both take these. I think that was like clear in his deposition. He was getting them to give to young women. They asked him, like, why didn't you take them? Like, you didn't take them? He said, no, he didn't. He had them to give to these young women. So just like you said, so you can like loosen them up, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, you're like assaulting somebody. If somebody is not in their right state of mind, you know, like you laid it out, they cannot properly consent. You just did a video about kind of consent trouble and like what that means in this time. You know, how do you see it?
I see it from so many different angles, but like the main angle is what's wrong is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And I've always thought that Bill Cosby was a corny dude. He was never my dad. You know You feel me? I definitely didn't need one, but I feel like people who know they're wrong are usually the ones with the most criticisms. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when we seen his whole platform as a celebrity and the way that he loved to put down black people is because he didn't want to live in the bullshit that he knew that he was standing on. So I feel like he made it a point to point out all of the shit that he could point out, as much of it as he can, to kind of take that feeling of guilt off of him, so he wouldn't have to live in it. Because he's like, I mean, like, yeah, I'm doing shit wrong, but look at all these black people sagging their pants and listening to hippity hop music, killing people and stuff. It's like, no, bro, like, you're still a sick, twisted old man in my eyes.
Yeah, and I think just because somebody's in the chat, and this is cousin Mimi said, but they took it of their own free will. Even cousin Mimi.
That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant.
Oh, get your lawyer on,
no,
Miracle.
I'm not trying to get my lawyer on. People understand. Like if me and you were like hypothetically like, let's go try this weed together. Me saying let's still try this weed together is not me saying let's go have sex, right? If I'm saying, hey, let's go to the bar and get some drinks together, that's not me saying let's go hang out and let's have sex. If I'm having a barbecue and I'm like, hey, everybody, here's some tequila, here's some rum, that's not me saying let's have an orgy. People have to understand consent. If you are going to have sex with someone, you have to have consent. If you are going to enter into a situation where you're going to be trying Molly, ecstasy, whatever pills, you still have to get that in consent and understand, because at the end of the day, people can change their minds, right? Things can happen. Stuff can hurt. If you can feel bad, you can just change your mind. And when you have inebriated someone so they cannot consent, that's a problem. Also, people forget a lot of these women did actually go to the police. The police refused to investigate. A lot of this stuff was put out and remediated to civil court. So it wasn't that people were just going out willingly, hanging out with Bill Cosby, having sex with him, and then forgetting it or feeling bad the next day. This was the pattern. So much so there have been multiple stand-up specials and multiple jokes where people basically said Cosby was a rapist. Cosby and Hefner, people have said this for years, were actually raping these people, and everyone knew about it. The problem was you have these systems of white supremacy and power and patriarchy that said these women are disposable. Like there are court records, there are people who took depositions, there are people who said they went to the police, there are police officers who came out and said, yeah, we probably fumbled the ball on this one, and then this is the 70s, this is the 80s. And we keep getting these excuses. And it's like, no, drugging someone does not mean they're consenting to have sexual relations with you. And people have to understand that.
Right. Or even if they take a drug, or like you said, because she put, she said it was in a hotel, like agreeing to go to somebody's hotel room, again, just to go off what Miracle said, that doesn't mean you agree to have sex with that person. If you agree to go to their hotel room, you know what I'm saying? You have to consent to the actual act. And so I think that's where these women are saying they did not do that. You know what I'm saying? And that was the same thing. Women was up in Harvey Weinstein's hotel room. They were saying, yeah, we went to his room, but we did not consent to these acts. So just being in the proximity of somebody's room or somebody's house does not mean that that's like an invitation to have sex with that person. I think that's what we're seeing. But like you said, I mean, and a lot of times I also think it's interesting. And I'll come to trouble, but I also want to talk about this is like, similarly with R. Kelly, it's like a lot of the victims were also Black women. And it's this thing of like, is it celebrity? Is it because this dude had a show or R. Kelly had these songs that we are so quick to come to defense of these powerful, famous men, even when their victims are also women? In the case of R. Kelly, these are children who cannot consent because they're children. And so that's also something that we need to have a conversation about, like celebrity culture and what that means. I'm gonna go to Trouble, and then I would want to know if you had anything to say about it, Saeed, as well.
So one thing that I've been confronting a lot in my inner circle is kind of like this idea of masculinity where the lines of consent are blurred, because part of masculinity culture has become like this coercion scheme. You'll have like, sometimes I'll hear my homies say some shit like, yeah, bro, I juiced her, bro. Yeah. Or something along the lines of like, I convinced this woman who originally didn't want to have sex with me to have sex with me. And for some odd, strange reason, we have grown up to think that shit was cool. You know what I'm saying? I know me a couple years ago, I really sat and I tried to think about that to myself, like, wait a minute, why are we celebrating this shit? Why is this something that we are proud of? You know what I'm saying? And now it becomes a thing where it's like me trying to tell my homies what consent actually is turns into a debate of like this, that, or the third about like how they like people like I'm trying not to get too riled up right now, but it's like it's so interesting to me how like masculinity has become like this thing of like get what you want at all costs, no matter what.
Yeah, and that's literally, I mean, I think what you described is what people are talking about as rape culture. I mean, that's rape culture, right? Like the idea that like you gotta, I'm a tricker, I'm a, of course, Rick Ross famously said, like, I gave her a pill and she didn't even know it, and then we had sex and she didn't even know it, and like openly rapped that in a song, and it went through like mad people listened to it. Nobody said anything, and hits the radio, and people had to say, well, wait a second, man, you're like what you described as a sexual assault, what you described as rape, like that's not cool. And so like that's kind of what people, Dr. Russell said, black patriarchy is a hell of a drug. This is some of the things that we have to begin to break down. And it's like, because somebody's a celebrity had a popular show that we like, doesn't mean that they're a good person. It doesn't mean that, kind of like Miracle said, like we got to become like apologists for them or their behavior. Bill Cosby was old in the 80s. Like he wasn't young. This nigga was old. He's an old man. He was describing Quaaludes, which came out in the 70s, as a drug young people took. The nigga was old in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? So like, this is a grown man who understood the decisions that he was making. How am I? We're gonna come? We don't gotta defend him. Let this 80-year-old man defend himself. And obviously, like Miracle said, he has the money for the lawyers, which is one of the reasons he's out now. Saeed?
So
get your jokes off. I know you gotta. I
don't even have jokes at this point. I don't even have jokes at this point. I started to type one in the chat and I was like, let me refrain. Bill Cosby is respectability politics on steroids and in the worst form, right? He really is just unchained ego and respectability. That's Bill Cosby is at his core. And we also have to look at the black community, because us as black people think fucked up when it comes to one of us representing the whole entire group. Same people that went out and voted for Barack Obama because he's black are the same Bill Cosby apologists. Barack Obama was a shitty person. We have to stop with this lie that he was this great person because he was an amazing politician. That's the whole point of being an amazing politician. It distracts you from the fact that you're a shitty person. Donald Trump, amazing politician because it distracted you from the fact that he was a shitty person, right? You bought into the hype train. Bill Cosby is no.
Wait a second. According to C-SPAN, Farouk, Barack Obama was the 10th best president of all time, and Donald Trump was like almost dead last.
I mean, fine, whatever. Semantics, I don't care, right? It's whatever. But the fact of the matter is, people seen themselves in Bill Cosby because he represented this slice of Americana that black people really didn't have access to. And he really only represented a small portion of black people in this elite status because most of us really can't relate to what he put on the screen. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up to brownstone and Ivy Leagues and, having a six-figure family from both sides and all these other things. So Bill Cosby representing that, people were like, yeah, that's what we can be. And we can identify with this glorious visage that's on the TV of middle or upper middle class or lower upper class black America. And that's our first taste of it, right? It's not Good Times. It's not 227. It's not, even Family Matters. This is Bill Cosby. And so they apologize.
A lawyer and a doctor. Yeah.
Right. And they forgive it, and they give all of these excuses and all these other things, and they alienate the fact that Hannibal Buress really was the first person to blow the lid on all of this shit when he came out with a stand-up bit and was like, yo, Bill Cosby been raping people for 30 years and you think it's funny. This isn't even a punchline. This is just a fact. Yeah. And then, people just swept it under the rug because it's Bill Cosby. He's earned this tenure in Hollywood or whatever because he's given us NBC. Right, yeah, he was gonna buy NBC, and he gave us a different world and whatever hotep shit you want to throw at this, right? And you know what I mean? Like, but the fact of the matter is, do you have that same energy if your daughter's teacher called her after school and was like, hey, listen, let's get something to drink. It's late, Ray, something like that. And then your daughter wakes up and says, hey, listen, I don't remember what happened. All I know, I'm sore. Something ain't right. Do you have that same energy? Right? And that's what escapes me for all of this shit. And
yeah, it's like you can say, okay, you know, the Cosby Show was this show that showed us a slice of Black American life that we didn't see. You know, it showed us like professional Black people and a husband and wife together, and that's good. But in this man's real life, he was doing things that were illegal. Like, he was an old man. This man was in his 50s and 60s, giving young 20-something women pills to have sex with them. This is from his own mouth. I'm not making this up. He said that. He admitted that even the giving of the drugs was illegal. That nigga's doing crime. Like what? Like, we don't have, like you said, Miracle. I mean, you said that we don't have to defend his crime. If you want to watch a Cosby Show episode and the shirt where Theo had the bad shirt, you want to laugh at that, go ahead and do it. You know, but you don't have to defend this man when he commits crimes. That's what he did.
And then also, I would argue, you know, sexual assault that is like the quintessential American activity, because all America does is rape, pillage, and plunder. But you know, that's for a different day. I would also want to point out, there was the case of like Darren Sharper, who was a football player. He kind of would do the same thing. He would invite people, like the girl who agreed to have sex with him and her friends, and he would drug all of them just so he could have access to rape one person. And so when we're talking about, like, I don't think people really understand what drugging entails, because even if I agree to have sex with someone, I don't agree to be passed out, right? Because when you're passed out, you have no idea what's happening. Just because I agree to go hang out with you doesn't mean I agree to have an Ambien and just like wake up and have no recollection of the past few hours of my life. And that is what the difference is. He wasn't taking them himself. It wasn't like a joint pill popping, you know, I may come over and you're going to put me in the Cosby Show. It wasn't this mutually exclusive or mutually beneficial arrangement. Like, people were coming over. And last thing, I'll talk about these hotel rooms. And this is something that I feel, even as a woman in this industry, it's very tricky, because a lot of these hotel rooms are suites. They're a whole entire floors, right? And people will have like their business office in the front, and then they sleep in the back. And you have to make a decision. Okay, I'm gonna go there. And even Lupita Nyong'o, when she had went to Harry Weinstein, she was like, I am a daughter of an American ambassador. I am an award. This is not going to happen to me. She thought her status was going to protect her, and he still tried her. Gwyneth Paltrow, whose family like practically runs Hollywood, was still violated and disrespected because people don't care, because it's about power. So even when you think that I'm gonna go have this meeting with these people and they're not gonna, like, don't they know who I am? They would never. It still goes and it still happens, and I think that is the problem, and why we have to talk about affirmative consent. And why we have to talk about drug and sex culture, because there are people who do engage in farming parties and sex parties, and it's all consent-based. And that's different than what Bill admitted to doing and what he was accused of. And lastly, the prosecutor saying, you know what, go ahead, do the civil case. I promise I won't criminally prosecute you. It's indicative of the sexual assault that permeates Pennsylvania. Like, we've had judges go to jail for sexual assault. District attorneys go to jail for sexual assault. Public defenders go to jail for sexual assault. Our whole mental health system was changed because in the 70s and 80s, people were actually raping mental health patients. So Pennsylvania has been a hotbed of like sexual assault for decades. And it's not a surprise that this happens in Pennsylvania, but we also got to talk about the prosecutorial misconduct that happens and why people are so willing to advocate for Bill, because so many other Black people in Pennsylvania have been railroaded. And those are two separate conversations, and they've been mixed together because people see Bill as this famous person. And lastly, I will say, when we talk about Black liberation, For some men, Black liberation means being able to rape and disrespect Black and brown women the same way white people do. And we have to be very honest about what our ideas of liberation and freedom are. Because if you're saying Bill deserves to be free because all these white men deserve to be free, what does that say for the people who've been sexually assaulted, the men and boys? Remember, the situation happened at Penn State. Those are Black boys. So we also have to remember that Black men and Black boys are victims of sexual assault. And right now in Philly, there is a police officer who is actually raping Black men, and to getting them to do plea deals and take false charges. So we also have to remember that sexual assault impacts Black men and boys. And a lot of people have this internalized white supremacy because they are survivors of sexual assault, and they feel if it happened to them, they can do it to somebody else because it's about power and control. And so this is a very heavy conversation, but we have to be very honest and be like, no, you can't be out here drugging people and raping people, and you can't be the leader of the Faithful Black Man Association and cheating on your wife every day. It's like something in the water isn't clean.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely. I mean, I think you broke it down correctly. Somebody wanting to, think that, oh, I want to, maybe if I become friends with Bill Cosby, I'll get a shot at the Cosby Show or get famous, does not mean that the price should be like they get assaulted or they get raped. I mean, because that's what Harvey Weinstein was doing. That's what all these. I mean, but that's but just like you said, I mean, there's a terminology called the casting couch. It's like it's accepted. You know what I'm saying? That like, oh, you want to be here, you want to have this, you have to go through some guy, some man, and be used by this man in order to get this fame. And that all of that stuff, like if we're talking about true liberation, if we're talking about everybody being free, all of that stuff has to come down. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so I would say, for anybody, you can go look up Cosby, Quaaludes, deposition, and you can read what he said from his own mouth and to understand that, like, he wouldn't even do that deposition until he got the word from this prosecutor that he would not be that he would not be prosecuted for what he said. And so, I mean, just that right there is somebody that has something to hide. Why? Because he's doing crime. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not with the, well, everybody else does it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, nobody should do it, particularly when your victims are also Black and brown women. Who are we standing for? Who are we protecting? Who are we defending? You can't say protect Black women one day and then you want to run up and defend Bill Cosby the next day. To me, that's hypocrisy and a contradiction in itself. You know what I'm saying? So we could talk about this all. Speaking of Black women, why don't we get into our sister, Gwen Berry? You know what I'm saying? Who is, and I just want to say for those that don't know
my
who
hero.
Gwen Berry is, because Gwen Berry is, I mean, she's a 3-time national champion in the weight throw. She holds the world record in the weight throw. This is an accomplished athlete. She was a gold medalist at the 2014 Pan American Sports Festival, as well as the 2019 Pan American Games. You know what I'm saying? She is a dope athlete. She is a professional athlete and really good at that. But, she came under some fire because, she did not want to stand and participate in the national anthem. If you can, John, if you could pull up the interview with Gwen Berry so she can tell you in her own words why, as a Black woman, she did not want to stand for the national anthem. If you could pull that up, we could listen to that.
About the national anthem or that whole scenario that made you feel so uncomfortable? Why didn't you want to, acknowledge that part?
History. If you know your history, you know the full song of the national anthem. The third paragraph speaks to slaves in America, our blood being slain.
Come on, Gwen.
Pilfered all over the floor. It's disrespectful and it does not speak for Black Americans. It's obvious. There's no question.
You were quoted as saying that you didn't want to do that because the anthem did not represent you. So now, we have to ask, what is your response to people that are sort of demonizing or choosing to take what you did in a negative light? What do you say to the folks that now say, why be on Team USA if you don't want to represent the flag?
I said that I didn't want to go to the Olympic Games. That's why I competed and got third and made the team. I never said that I hated the country. Never said that. All I said was I respect my people enough to not stand or acknowledge something that disrespects them. I love my people, point blank, period.
Come on, Gwen.
All right, I think that's enough. We can
Listen, she's the queen of like F around and find out, because they try to play her. They try to play my good sis. They told her, you know what? At 5 o'clock, we're gonna play the national anthem, and at 4:55, JK, it started. But no, like, she did what she was supposed to do. They said, don't put your fist up, don't take a knee, don't disrespect the flag. So she agreed with their rules and their guidelines. She stood there. She turned away after they tried to lie to her and play her, and look what happens.
Right. And for those that don't know the backstory, they, told not only her, but all of the athletes that they were not going to play. They were not going to go to the podium and play the national anthem. And so when, this event was over and the women who were first, second, and third, all of a sudden the national anthem started playing and they asked all of them to go stand at the podium. So she just, like you said, Miracle said, she didn't put her fist up. She just turned her back, which they knew from the beginning. Like she told them that this is not something that she wanted to stand for. And so they knew it for the beginning. So what do y'all feel? I mean, you had Tom Cotton. Every time I say his name.
Of course, a man with a last name of Cotton got something to say about black people. Of course.
Him and Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Snake Plissken.
He still wants us to pick him.
York, man. I'm like, yo. Shut the fuck up, Snake.
No, don't be aimless. We can't do that. We can't make this joke.
Dan Crenshaw. They both said like she shouldn't be on a team. They both tried to say, Dan Crenshaw went as far as to say she should like America. Like,
for what? Does America keep her safe?
Don't have is the audacity to talk and tell black people what to do, say, and think. It's just, mind-boggling to me, because at the end of the day, y'all tell people to shut up and dribble. So she shut up and she threw her little thing and she stood there and didn't say a word, and now y'all upset. It's like you can never be happy.
Yeah. Miracle had said famously on here that the Olympics have always been political. I'm going to cite something very specific about this. America was extremely upset that they were getting their asses handed to them by the entire world in basketball. They said, you know what, fuck it. Professional athletes can now compete in the Olympics because we need to stop losing this shit, right? You Americans were so upset when you were losing in every sport. They said, we need to get all of the professional athletes to compete in every possible Olympic category. If that's what you want to continue to win on the global stage, then you have to accept their politics with that shit, or accept not placing any longer in the games.
Yeah,
it's one or the other.
Get you an average athlete that loves the flag. You know what I'm saying? Now, did we want to play like, Meghan McCain? Meghan McCain.
We did not discuss this in pre-production. We did not say you were going to play her in pre-production. We did not vote on this.
She had something
I don't want
to
be optically traumatized. I don't want to be.
So don't play Meghan McCain.
Bro.
Well, Meghan McCain was mad. Meghan McCain, because her dad was what got caught. I mean, that's what Donald Trump said, but because her dad was a prisoner of war. And she feels like everybody should love the flag. I guess you can just show her face. I mean, just look at this woman's. I don't know if you could just pull her.
That flag, man.
You can play it. First of all, the fact that she trolls us every day wearing black hairstyles and can't even come through with the perfection is just heartbreaking. Number one. Number two, there are some Muslims who don't salute the flag. There are some various Moors who don't salute the flag. There are traditional conservative Jewish people who do not salute the flag. There are hundreds
or say the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes.
Religious entities and affiliations that do not salute the flags outside of a political ideology. So once again, the party of religious freedom and religious engagement somehow seems to forget that there are people who do not salute the flag or say the Pledge of Allegiance because it's against their religious beliefs. And I just don't understand again why we have to salute and pledge to something that is supposed to be like inherently wrong, right?
Yeah.
And it's really against biblical principles according to some religions. You're only supposed to have one God, but I'm not religious, so I don't really know all the breakdowns. But what I'm saying is, if people don't want to salute the flag, let them not salute the flag.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what Megan. Let's hear a little bit what Megan has to say. If you can play that, John. She tired of y'all kneeling and
testing. I've spent the last year and a half hearing every argument possible and understanding why athletes protest in the United States of America,
around the world.
The problem I have is this woman is doing this internationally, and if anyone just saw Vladimir Putin's recent speech when he met with President Biden, he's using the propaganda that America is an irredeemable crap hole against us, saying you think your country's so great.
Maybe you should redeem yourself.
Look at everything that's happening in your country. You don't even treat your people correctly. At the same time where he's literally imprisoning people, and we're having our enemies and propaganda dictators using our own propaganda against us, which in turn turns into a real national security risk. My other problem with this is I don't understand why we can't have shared experiences in this space or have our own stories.
Because you can stop it. I mean,
why can't it be like, oh my God, they're saying Black people don't have water without lead. Let's get the lead out the water. Like, I don't understand why that can't be the rallying cry. Like, oh my God, they're saying Black people are unjustly put in prison. Let's close I don't get it. Why is it to stop protesting? Because of Russia. Like, you know what? Russia, China,
you
whoever.
You want Black people now to do all the labor of defending the country across the globe. And then for what? Like, this is such a mind-boggling thing to me. Because this is literally imprisoning people, right? There's literally people
we imprison more people
now.
Everywhere. We're it's not even close. Like, we imprison more people than anybody
excessively
anywhere.
Wide margin.
And rural prison populations are increasing. Why y'all keep talking about gun violence in Chicago? It's white people in rural America who are filling up these local jails at an increasing alarming rate, and y'all really aren't talking about that. So why y'all keep talking about, law and order? You need to look in your own hen house, because a lot of people are losing their lives, their property, all this stuff, because they're going to jail in these rural suburban areas. So you also need to think about that. Also, are we not founded on protest? The most American thing to do is to protest and allegedly riot, and to fight back against, tyranny and the government. That is our history. And it's the fact that France outperforms us in rioting and protesting, she would be ashamed. And if we're talking about the Olympics and competing, I need America to get it together, because we're really losing on this front. That's
let me say that.
You see, what I don't. Oh, go ahead, Farouk. Go ahead.
So we'll go Farouk.
I often wonder. Is it my turn?
Yes. What do you wonder?
I often wonder what type of a utopia would exist if all the Black people would just secede and go to our own little place, right? We have our own, right, Wakanda, something like that. And for everybody says, we'll go back. Is who going to be there?
Is Bill Cosby going to be there?
He can stay outside the gate. He can chase away hyenas or something. I don't know. He can come, but he can't come in. Not live these days. But anyway, what would happen if all the Black people took all the athletes, and all the Black people took all the creatives, and all I know what would happen? White people would be confused on TikTok. They wouldn't have any idea what to do. If all the Black people took all the scholars, and we took all the cooks with us, and we took all the entertainers, and we took all the ideators, and we took all the religious leaders, and then we took all the politicians, and said, hey, you know what? We're just going to be with us. America would just be this bland saltine cracker with a sprinkle of mayonnaise on top of it, with literally no culture, nothing, not even paprika, not even that to offer up to anybody. It would be raisins in a potato salad, competing against the rest of the world for slots of mediocrity around the globe. And you would have nothing. You would have nothing except for confusion and question mark boxes on what to do in the absence of Black people. But yet, in the face of all of that, in the face of all your performative things about stand and salute the pledge and all this, You desecrated George Floyd Monument. You bash us and try to make a federal offense of critical race theory. You incarcerate us at such an alarming rate. And then you have the nerve to say, but represent us across the globe with pride.
Ban Colin Kaepernick. He can't even get snapped. Yeah. No, I mean, I think, and that to me, that's what it's about. You know, it's like, it's really the same thing around critical race theories. Like, you know, Meghan McCain's problem was the international world might find out how badly we treat black people over here. Like the international
Meghan
world
McCain's problem is she's an entitled white woman. That's her problem.
Of course. It's like the world, like Russia might find out that, hey, the national anthem is a racist song. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's the whole thing with critical race theory. It's like people might find out that actually the country is built on white supremacists, racism, genocide, just like you said, rape, murder, taking what you want, all those masculine traits that you talk about, Trouble. That's the bedrock of how this country was built. And so, like, God forbid we actually deal with the reality of how America came into existence. No, we gotta try to keep playing this lie that everybody loves one another. We're all good. And of course that's happening because white men are on top. But the minute somebody challenges like white male patriarchy, all of a sudden they're thing in America. You know what I'm saying? So it's just wow how this whole thing comes back around. You had some trouble?
Yeah, so it's interesting to me how white people want us to be so patriotic when we've been asking them for justice for decades. You know what I'm saying? It's like we'll be patriotic when we actually feel as though we're wanted in this country. You know what I'm saying? It don't even feel like this country wants us. So it's like, why would we be patriotic towards a country that clearly doesn't even want to teach you what they've done to us? Doesn't want to give our black TikTok creators the flowers that they deserve. You know what I'm saying? That wants to deface fucking George Floyd statues. Right. Like we didn't all see what happened to that man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why the fuck would we want to be patriotic when this country constantly proves to us that they don't give two fucks about us?
I mean, I think that's the point, but it's wild because if you can pull up that general, and I know we're getting close to time, but if you could pull up Don, the general, and this is the wild part, like when it comes to patriotism, right? So here is the top United States general actually talking about critical race theory and actually talking about, wanting to learn about these things. And then, of course, all these now all of a sudden, white people ain't patriots no more. Can you play that, John?
That they raised to me was a seminar that over 100 cadets attended titled Understanding Whiteness and White Rage, taught by a woman who described the Republican Party platform as a platform of white supremacy. This is going on at West Point as we speak to our future military leaders. And sir, I would encourage you, I would demand that you get to the bottom of what is going on.
But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here. And I do want
right there in Florida. Go get that.
I'm about to say he was at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for a long time.
The American people. So it is important that the leaders now and in the future do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1960.
They say the next bombs are going to be dropped by
So look, I do want to know.
But I mean,
what'd you say, Miracle?
What was wild is she said the next.
I said they said the next bombs and drones are going to be dropped by a woke general.
But no, I mean, I think like what's interesting is when this general said that, like the response from like the Fox News people, they said he was a coward. They called him a pig. They called like now all of a sudden, but no one like Tucker Carlson like called this dude a coward. He called him dumb. He called him a pig. This is the top general of the United States. But no, like as a white man, he can say that. No one questioned his patriotism. You know what I'm saying? But let me or you talk about some general, you know what I'm saying? Or talk about some, now all of a sudden, like we're anti-American, you know what I'm saying? Or we're not patriotic. Also, I mean, who can even be critical of different aspects of the United States and not be accused of being, literally like those people that ran up in the Capitol, you can't say that they're not patriotic.
I mean, but we have to be very honest about like patriotism and how we really support people that go abroad to Black and brown countries and rape and murder people. Like we just had Eddie Gallagher, who was the officer who Trump pardoned, who was taking pictures with dead people, with dead teenagers. We have to be like very honest about the fact that even when we were talking about Stop Asian Hate and the mass murder that happened, when people were talking about how these soldiers enlist and they come to places like Vietnam and engage in sexual assault and sexual tourism and sexual degradation of the local community. And so when we're talking about educating our military, a part of me is like, yes, finally, but it's like, we're not doing enough because we're still going to take these same white supremacy ideals like manifest destiny, that God has chosen us to go save these Black and brown savages through war and bombs. Like we just were bombing countries this week. And we're still going to be deploying troops. So we're not doing enough. Does it help that we won't have actual white supremacists learning military capacity so they can't come down to rural Pennsylvania and do drills? Maybe it I'm happier that the white supremacists that threaten to kill us now won't be military trained. But at the same time, it's just like, it's like a little too late, right? Like, silver lining.
Can I say something?
Like, yeah.
That's wild.
I have a reverence for combat and all things related. The word coward to me is one of the most, if that's actually the most scathing word to me. You call me a coward. Yeah, that, but did Tucker Carlson enlist?
No.
Has Tucker Carlson ever been in a fucking fist fight or a boxing gym?
Probably not. Probably
Has he ever played a contact sport in his fucking life?
Probably not.
Right? When these pundits and these talking heads throw that word around so liberally, but they have no backbone, they have no physicality to them. Like it's so offensive to me, man. But like Tucker Carlson, why don't you put on some BDUs, right? And go to boot camp for 16 weeks, bro. See how you fucking feel. You know what I mean?
I think they're looking in the mirror when they say shit.
I have bones burst. They have to be.
They're pointing the finger at shit.
Man.
Well, no, actually,
you know what I'm saying? Like they're pointing the finger at shit that looks familiar for
yeah, actually, Tucker Carlson, I guess, tried to get into the CIA, and he didn't. He was, I don't know, he was rejected from the CIA. So then he went to Fox News and this thing. We don't have to play Tucker Carlson because we're at the end of the show. We did, want to say like we do, feel bad for the white TikTok creators. We feel bad that you don't have any new dances.
Here y'all go again. Like, we're gonna have to have another.
Because y'all don't have no new dances. No, I'm just saying it is wild.
Y'all sympathy is in the wrong place.
But I mean, I will
in the wrong place.
I know. I definitely will shout out to. Oh, you want to show his face? Yeah, go ahead. Show us. This is how Tucker Carlson does his show, and anti-white mania. I mean, you know,
like Howdy Doody.
But
got the rosy cheeks.
We did talk about it a little bit. That there were Black TikTok creators that basically were tired of their dances being appropriated by these white TikTok creators that are getting money and sponsorships and millions of views. A couple weeks ago you had I think it was Jimmy Fallon brought one of the more popular white TikTokers on the show. She did all the black dances and didn't give none of them no credit, no love. So I do find it fascinating. And whoever organized it, shout out to them, that the black TikTok creators, despite all the new music that came out, are saying like, yo, we're not doing no dances just so you all can exploit our dances. And I don't know, man, Miracle, maybe we got to get some type of like entertainment law. Like, how do you protect, these black creators? I mean, the brother who made the Millie Rock, you know what I'm saying? Like all of these, like, how do you protect them? Because I remember when there was a conversation about the Millie Rock being used in Fortnite. And it was like this brother who created this dance, he doesn't get any money from his dance being used in Fortnite. What do we do to support, our creative class?
Unionize. Also, you have to protect your intellectual property because you're creating it. It's unique to you. I do believe there are a couple of new organizations that are popping up, but also be very careful that you're not being exploited, right? That you own your property, that you're not doing a full 360 deal, because some of y'all just signing deals and y'all living in California in these mansions also gives me human trafficking vibes. So just be like very careful, of the deals that you are signing. Be very mindful of the ways that you're moving on social media, but make sure you own your stuff. Make sure you put, disclaimers that you own it, that you don't give people the right to use it, that you have to have credit. And hopefully, you can make a career off of it, partner with some really cool corporations and move on from there. But yeah, I know we're working on launching another series with lawyers, so that's something that we can definitely talk about and engage a little more.
So before we go, we do have breaking news to make people like Tucker Carlson even more angry. Nicole Hannah-Jones was awarded tenure at the University of North Carolina. Nicole Hannah-Jones was the brain child behind the 1619 Project, which I believe she won a Pulitzer Prize for the 1619 Project. And, of course, that made white people very, very angry because it talked about the true history of this country. Whenever you talk about the true history of America, white people get very offended by what their ancestors actually did, which is so wild to me.
I'm gonna say this. I'm just not gonna say anything else. The more and more we talk about the shit, the less crazy Dr. Umar sounds.
No, we're not about to do this to y'all. You know what? No. You know what? I know y'all are trying to trigger me, and it's not going to happen. I'm going to reclaim my power, and I'm going to say, congratulations, Sister Nicole. Yes. I read this 1619 Project, and I really do not understand why y'all are up in arms, because it's like history, and it's like not that bad. Like it literally, like when I read it, I was like, where is the, I don't get it. I don't get what's shocking. But again, I talked to my parents and my grandparents. I understand how racism works. But yeah, and I was going to move to our white pages and a call to action, but my twin kind of like threw me for a loop. And so
she said, don't let us do,
you know what, we're gonna have we're gonna
this guy, Saeed, he wants to have Wakanda where Dr. Umar is president. That's not us.
He does. He wants patriarchy and Hotep. I told y'all, give him another year. Listen. He's about to be a full-fledged Republican. It's gonna be him, Candace, and the Hodge twins doing workouts together. Give it a year. Now, I feel like we need to call Brother Bakari, and we need to have another. We need to have another men saving men conversation, because y'all.
Yes. Yes. We do need to do that. So, but definitely shout out to Nicole Hannah-Jones. Yes. And so I don't know. I guess we'll see if she goes to the University of North Carolina. That was the issue, that it was really one powerful white trustee that really, really blocked her going to the University of North Carolina in the beginning and wanting to take her tenure away because of the 1619 Project. So shout out to Nicole Hannah-Jones. Like, keep making these white folk angry. So we can go on the white page. Our white page, we have a special Pittsburgh edition of our white pages. Last week we introduced this document called Reimagining Public Safety in Pittsburgh. We did it with One Hood in coordination with Alliance for Police Accountability. We also worked with organizations like Abolitionist Law Center, Prevention Point, Take Action Mount Valley. It was a lot of different folks that were a part of this process. Shout out to all them East End therapists were part of the process as well. And so we're at, you can, if you don't have a physical copy, it's available online. If you go to onehood.org/public safety, you can read our document around reimagining public safety. Look at that. Police don't keep us safe. If you're thinking, why not? Bam. Get your copy or go read it. Our reimagining public safety in Pittsburgh and Allegheny County. And yeah, shout out to Alliance for Police Accountability for helping us convene it. Also, shout out to our steering committee, which also included Michelle Kinney, the mother of Antoine Rose II, and our brother Leon Ford Jr. Appreciate you all as well for being part of this process, a necessary part of this process. Jesse Wozniak too for helping us put it together and writing it as well. And you want to give our call to action, Miracle?
Yes. We have two different calls to action. First is, since we talked about sexual assault, we just want to steer you towards this Black Survivors Healing Fund. It is a fundraiser, GoFundMe, for those who are been at Howard University, who have survived sexual assault. Since Sister Felicia, so happy that Bill's coming home, and she's the Dean of the Arts committee. We're just asking people to support the survivors. Also, next week, I will put this in the chat. Young Black motivated kings and queens are they're hosting a gala. They're hosting a series of events to basically keep the organization going, to get back to the community. They have
celebrating really 5 years, celebrating their 5 years of being in existence too.
Yes, and so we'll put that link into the chat. Buy your tickets. You can see us in person if you're like, you know what, I have this tux, I have this dress, I want to get my hair done, wear my makeup, get some fly, sneakers. I don't know if you want to do like a Burberry off with Farouk. He'd just be, he's sensitive. You can come and you can just hang out with us. So that's next week, July 10th. July 11th is the gospel concert. I've heard it's going to be amazing.
Right, July 9th is.
You can't go if not saved.
No, I don't go. I'm not religious.
You can celebrate. You can listen to gospel music and not be saved. Stop that. July 9th actually is a community day.
Inside joke between Miracle.
It's a community day celebration.
I did not go to that gospel concert. I was like, this is not my ministry. This is not for me. I want to let the saints have what their stuff, and I'm just.
Gotcha. But you can, if you like gospel music, I'm sure folks do. Yeah, it's open to everybody. It's a black tie gala. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, people that be on that Bill Cosby, the young people dress crazy. Well, come and support young people that's going to be dressing up. You know what I'm saying? Come support that if that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? Some Cosby Bill. You're going to have on some sneakers. But so shout out to Young Black Motivated Kings and Queens. Community Day on the 9th. The Black Tie event is on the 10th. It's a gospel concert. I hope we're getting that. It's in the chat. The dates, the details in the chat. Tamika Mallory will be coming to give a keynote. Come through and chop it up with us. We will be in effect. We will be looking fresh. What you rocking, Trouble? You got your suit ready?
Yo, I was literally just thinking about that as you were asking the question. I'm like, what am I going to wear? I have no idea. I'm going to be fresh though. I'm going to be fresh.
Our One Hood suits, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Go make sure you go to the barbershop, Farouk. Anything else?
Yeah, y'all be safe out here. These heat waves and this flash flooding. I guess climate change is real. Just be safe out here. And if you have some suits or if you sell some dresses, some ball gowns, hit us up so we can support local.
We need your serious minister suits, man. We need you to come up with one of the old minister suits, bro.
You need me to come up with the baggy suits.
It's okay.
With the 3X, with the NBA draft, bro. With the NBA
You
draft.
gotta bring that picture.
With the prohibition fit on.
Week.
Hey, yo, look, I was rocking 30. Yo, I was getting 38, waist size 38s, bro. It was crazy. It was a crazy time back then. Then you put the belt on and your pants be all big. That's a whole nother time. Now I might have a correct size suit. You know what I'm saying?
You know what?
Yeah, it was crazy.
If y'all watch the BET Awards, we need to introduce a tailor to our people. So maybe that could be a show about how to wear a suit.
Ask a black tailor.
Because
Ask a black tailor. There's a bespoke channel on YouTube that I follow that's pretty dope. There's a black tailor on there giving advice. It puts me to sleep, so I just watch him like tailor suits and I go to sleep.
TikTok be having a lot of super dope fit inspo videos, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stylists go on TikTok and just
I know how to dress, so like I really don't watch that shit too much.
Okay. I mean,
see, I don't, so I be needing it.
Listen,
Miracle always make it seem like I'm coming to somebody. I was just saying, like, I don't really watch that. But like,
I already told y'all next year I'll level up my styling. Right now, I just be comfortable, and that's it. But I will. What do you mean? Yes? Did you see?
No,
see, that's what I'm saying. Miracle always
nothing wrong.
Violent.
Hey,
Miracle
that's how I roll. Hey, look, that's how I roll. I'm about comfort. I'm about comfort.
I told y'all.
Yeah, I'm about comfort. No, I was agreeing with you. That's how I roll. I don't want to put no suit on. I want to put a sweatsuit on. That's what I want to roll with. But I'm gonna dress up.
Trackies all day.
It's Young Black Motivated Kings and Queens. I'm gonna dress up, but I'm with you, Miracle. I like being comfortable. That's all I was saying. I was agreeing with you.
He's like, she's getting fired. It's going in my HR
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I think that's it. I mean, we did have mad other stories. I do want to know, a young unarmed white teenager was shot by the police in Arkansas. I'm curious as to, and then that's the thing. Like, I guess it was some kids that took a picture of shirt that said White Lives Matter. If White Lives Matter, like, why aren't you rallying with this family where this white kid was unarmed and killed by the police in Arkansas? Curious as if that's going to change some policing. We didn't even get into like the Marine who was talking about they wanted to start a civil war against black people. We didn't even get into all that. I mean, it's too much.
Did you see the white man at Walmart that was trying to attack the black man for buying a Pokemon game?
What? He can't play Pokemon? Is that racist?
He was like, I'm sick of you black people thinking you're so tough. He was like, I'm here to buy a Pokemon game, man. Just leave me alone.
What's our? We missed our Karen of the week. Do we have a Karen of the week? I guess is Megan McCain gonna be our Karen?
Yeah, I would say Megan McCain is the Karen of the week every week. Karen McCain.
Karen of the week. Yeah.
I know y'all don't like it, but I'm really advocating for another lockdown. And then y'all we can't be let outside for like 2 hours a day because we just gotta reprogram because clearly nobody learned anything. We just you go outside for 2 hours, come back in, learn how to socialize because it's not working. People are too stressed and too angry.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because people are outside. Some are too happy, some are too sad. So, like somebody said, racists got to catch them all. That was a Pokemon.
That's funny. That's funny.
Woogie.
What's up, Woogie?
I'm going to eat dinner. So, I've been on here with you niggas long enough.
All right,
excuse me.
Y'all next
I'm
week.
not a Negro. I'm a king.
Respect.
I'm a queen.
Yes.
We was kings.
Yes. In Africa.
You just taking all the pronouns now, Miracle? Miracle taking all the pronouns.
We will see y'all next week. All right. Peace and love, y'all. This week, White
Peace out, y'all.
Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and to wipe their mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can even buy it out.